My mom's words cut through the laughter like a knife. "You're the most useless child we have." Everyone at the Christmas table froze, then burst out laughing. My brothers smirked, my dad shook his head in fake disappointment, and my mom raised her wine glass as if she'd just delivered the ultimate punchline. If that made your blood boil, hit subscribe, drop a like, and share this video. Because what happened next? They never saw it coming. I sat there, gripping my napkin, so hard it nearly tore. "Useless?" I repeated slowly, forcing a smile. My cousin whispered, "Audrey, just let it go," like I was some fragile little thing. But inside, my blood was on fire. Mom leaned back, sipping her wine. "Well, it's true. You're almost 30, no husband, no big job, nothing to show. Off. At least your brothers make us proud." The table erupted again, their voices overlapping like a pack of hyenas. I stared at the glowing Christmas tree, its lights blurring through the tears burning my eyes. Tears I refused to let fall. They thought I was weak, invisible. They thought I'd just sit there and take it. But then, my phone buzzed. One notification. And that was the moment I decided this dinner wouldn't end the way they expected. I smiled. A smile they weren't ready for. "Funny," I said softly, sliding my phone face down on the table. "Because if I'm so useless, why did he just call me?" Their laughter died instantly. "Who?" Mom demanded, her voice sharp now. I tilted my head and looked her straight in the eye. "Let's just say, someone who holds the power to change everything about this family." And before anyone could breathe another word, the front door opened. The front door creaked open, and every head turned. In walked a man in a black suit, tall, confident, with snowflakes still clinging to his shoulders. He looked like someone straight out of a boardroom, powerful, intimidating. "Sorry to interrupt. Your family gathering," he said, his eyes sweeping the room before landing on me. "Audrey, the contracts are ready. All we need is your signature to finalize the deal." My mom blinked like she'd seen a ghost. "Contracts? What contracts?" I leaned back in my chair, crossing my legs slowly, savoring the silence that followed. "Oh, you mean the partnership deal with Harper Industries? The one worth 8 figures? I let the words hang in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Dad nearly choked on his drink. 8. What? The man. Ethan, my business attorney, placed a leather folder on the table. "Congratulations, Audrey. Once this is signed, your company becomes the official lead supplier for Harper Industries worldwide." The room fell into a dead hush. My brothers stared at me like I'd just sprouted wings. My mother's smug grin was gone, replaced with something new. Fear. You have a company?" she whispered. I smiled, picking up my pen and tapping it against the folder. "Oh, I have more than that. I've spent the last 5 years building something you wouldn't even understand." I looked around at their stunned faces. While you all laughed, mocked, and called me useless, I stayed quiet. I stayed focused. Mom's voice cracked. "Audrey, why didn't you tell us?" "Because," I said softly, leaning closer, "I wanted this moment. To see your faces when you realize the girl you all dismissed owns the future you'll be begging for." The silence was deafening. Then my oldest brother slammed his glass down. "This is a joke. You, running a company? Please." I turned my gaze to him, a slow smile forming. "You still think I'm joking?" I pushed the folder across the table toward him. "Read the name on that contract." He flipped it open and froze. His jaw tightened, his face pale, because right there in bold letters was something none of them ever expected to see. CEO, Audrey Miller. And that's when my dad stood up, his voice shaking with panic. "Audrey, we need to talk. Now." But what he said next, it shattered everything and turned this night into war. Dad's voice was trembling, and for the first time in my life, he wasn't the one in control. "Audrey, you don't understand," he said, his hands gripping the edge of the table so tight his knuckles turned white. I tilted my head, pretending to be curious. "Oh, please, enlighten me. What exactly don't I understand?" He glanced at Mom, who looked like her entire world was collapsing. Then, with a heavy breath, he dropped the bomb. We needed this meeting because we're broke." The words hit like a thunderclap. Everyone froze. My brothers' smug faces drained of color. Mom's perfect posture crumbled as tears filled her eyes. "Broke?" I repeated, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. "So all those years of looking down on me, of mocking me, and now you're sitting here with nothing." Dad nodded slowly, his voice barely above a whisper. "We made some bad investments. The house, the savings. It's all gone." Mom reached across the table, her manicured nails trembling. "Sweetheart, we didn't mean what we said earlier. We were just joking." I stared at her hand like it was poison. "Joking? You called me useless in front of the whole family. For years you made me feel like I was nothing." My second brother tried to jump in, his tone desperate now. "Audrey, listen. We can fix this together. If you just help us..." I cut him off, my voice sharp as glass. "Help you? After all, the birthdays you skipped because I wasn't worth celebrating? After every Christmas where you compared me to them?" I pointed at my brothers, who suddenly couldn't look me in the eye. The air was heavy, suffocating. Then Ethan, still standing in the doorway, cleared his throat. "Audrey, the Harper team is waiting for you on the call. We should head out soon." Mom's tears spilled over. "Don't leave," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Please, you can't do this to us. We're your family." I stood up slowly, picking up the folder with my name, CEO Audrey Miller, shining, like a crown on the cover. "Family?" I said softly, staring straight at her. "You only remember that word when you need something." But just as I reached the door, Dad's voice stopped me cold. "Wait. There's something you don't know about this house. About why we need that money." I turned, narrowing my eyes. "What are you talking about?" His next words. They didn't just twist the knife. They burned the entire game to the ground. Dad's voice cracked like old wood as he spoke the words that froze the room. "This house. It's not ours anymore. It's under foreclosure. And if we don't come up with $500,000 by the end of the month, we lose everything." I stared at him, the silence so thick you could hear the ticking clock on the mantel. $500,000? I repeated slowly, almost laughing. "You spent years calling me a failure while you were drowning in debt?" Mom broke down completely, mascara streaking her cheeks. "Audrey, please. We didn't want you to know. We thought we could fix it before you found out." "You mean before your little throne collapsed," I said, my voice calm but laced with fire. My younger brother slammed his fist on the table. "Don't act like you're better than us. You think some fancy contract makes you a queen? You're still nothing without this family." I stepped closer, my heels clicking against the floor like a countdown. "Nothing? Read that contract again. I own more than you'll ever touch in your lifetime." Ethan cleared his throat, handing me my phone. "Audrey, Harper's CEO is on the line. They're ready when you are." But Dad wasn't done. His face twisted with desperation, and then he said something that made everyone's jaw drop. "You can't walk away from this, Audrey. Because this house, the one you grew up in," he paused, his voice shaking, "is the only thing standing between us and prison." Prison. The word sliced through the air like a blade. I froze. Prison? What the hell are you talking about? Mom buried her face in her hands, sobbing harder. Dad's voice dropped to a whisper, as if the walls themselves couldn't hear. "The money we borrowed. It wasn't from the bank. It was from someone who doesn't forgive debts. If we can't pay, they'll come for all of us." My heart pounded, anger mixing with something new. Danger. "And you were going to let me find out tonight?" I hissed, my voice rising. "After everything you said about me?" Mom looked up, her eyes wild. "Please, Audrey. You're the only one who can save us." I laughed, a cold, hollow sound. "You should have thought of that before you made me the family joke." I grabbed my coat, turning toward the door. "Good luck," I said, each word like ice. But then, my phone buzzed again. And when I saw the name flashing on the screen, my blood ran cold. It wasn't Harper Industries. It was someone else. Someone I hadn't heard from in years. The name on the screen made my heart stop. Victor Kane. Dad's face went pale the second he saw it. Mom let out a strangled gasp. My voice was ice. "Who is Victor Kane?" Dad swallowed hard. "The man we owe everything to." Before I could speak, a message popped up. "Audrey, congratulations on the Harper deal. I think it's time we talk about your family's little debt." My stomach twisted. He knew. He knew everything. I turned to my parents, their faces crumbling under the weight of their secrets. "So, not only did you bury yourselves in debt," I said coldly, "but you dragged me into your mess?" Mom crawled toward me on her knees. "Please. If we don't pay him, he'll destroy us." I stared down at her, the woman who called me useless an hour ago, and then I smiled, slow and dangerous. "Don't worry," I whispered, picking up my phone. "He won't destroy you. I will." I hit dial. "Mr. Kane, it's Audrey. From now on, you deal with me, because I own everything, including this family." And as their faces filled with horror, I walked out the door without looking back.